Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much again for joining Ros Dreyer and Shelley Davenport as we do our afternoon teas. Yes, it's just Ros, it's not your imagination. Sorry, Shelley's actually having a week off, which is totally good for everybody, of course. So I wanted to talk about something very interesting, I think. And if I said Buckingham Palace, you're going to think, oh my God, she's giving us a history lesson. Nothing to do with Buckingham Palace. Except, did you know Buckingham Palace was originally a townhouse? Yes, a townhouse. The English version of a townhouse was a home that the aristocracy had in cities. So they would stay all their time in their manor houses, and if they were very wealthy or very well-to-do, they would own stately homes. And as you know from Downton Abbey, they were extremely important in the way that the villages succeeded by, employing people and producing, etc., etc. So they would spend time in London for their big meetings, or to produce their debutante or whatever they would happen to be doing in the city of London. So many of them, particularly in the sort of mid to late 1700s, had these beautiful standalone houses in most of the city limits. They discovered, though, that it was quite expensive to maintain these, particularly for the limited time they were spending there. So they decided to start building them as joined, and we used to call these terraced houses in England, which was all well and good until Queen Victoria, who came to the throne in obviously the 1800s until the 1900s, the mid-1800s, she decided, and she was a very good lady in this way, decided that the poor needed some affordable housing. So she immediately started building some mini terraced houses, literally the two up, two down, like you see in the movie In a Miner's Town or something. And you would just have a loo out back at best, the wooden box, the thunder box, whatever you want to call it. They have all sorts of names in England. I'm giving you the polite ones, I think. Anyway, so the wealthy didn't want their houses known as terrace houses anymore. So they started taking on the name that you do, the townhouse. And they were still very, very grand affairs. You've seen a great many of them in many, many British movies, particularly when the horse and cart stops outside and you get these beautiful Georgian type steps leading up to the townhouse. But believe it or not, there's only really one street now that is actually named, or originally the terraced houses, and that's St. James's Square in Westminster. So if you go to London, do give it a whirl. It's actually the only original terraced housing, the posh stuff anyway, that exists in London. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and Shelley and I will join you next week. Bye-bye, and thank you very much for joining. Thank you.